Eventually, Bardo decided to stop waiting and visit Rebecca in person. He prepared like he was going on a date. He bought flowers and a teddy bear, then traveled to a Hollywood set where Rebecca was shooting a movie. But Bardo was in for a huge disappointment. The security on the movie set refused to let him through because Rebecca wasn't expecting any visitors. All his effort—
What the fuck he thought was gonna happen? You can't just pull up to a movie scene like that. Like, you're not gonna get through. You can't get through to the celebrities and talk to them and shit. Like, they shooting a movie and they don't fucking know you, you weirdo. This is what, bro. These people are crazy. Like, I ain't know fans could get this crazy. I knew fans could get crazy, but like, this is next level kind of shit. Like, this is delusion. This is all in his head, by the way. Like,
unfortunately, her life was cut short by an obsessed fan.
I can't believe that the poor guy died. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever that he would die in such a senseless manner.
It's always giving people the benefit of the doubt, you know, and look what it got her.
The problem with being famous is that anyone can become your fan, even dangerous people. And when those dangerous fans strike, the consequences can be fatal. Today, we'll talk about celebrities who were ended by their own fans and the tragic events behind each case. Hello, friends. So my goal this year is to give you guys double the amount of videos without sacrificing quality. And in order for me to do that, we gotta keep Visual Venture growing. So 75% of you guys are not subscribed.
Yeah, y'all subscribe to the channel, man.
If you did, and I promise to give you more fire content. John Lennon. We're starting off this video with a bit of an older case. John Lennon was one of the world's biggest musicians, but in 1966, he said something that made his own fans turn against him. John Lennon was a member of the Beatles, which you guys have definitely heard of, but just in case, they were a super successful rock band. While talking about their success, Lennon said that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus.
I just said they
time out. Hold up. Flag on the play. Technical foul. John Lennon said that? Now, I ain't gonna lie. I knew the name John Lennon because I remember Lil Wayne saying, "If I die today, remember me like John Lennon." I can't remember what song that was, but I remember the name John Lennon. I didn't know he was in the Beatles though.
having more influence on kids and things than anything else, including Jesus. But I said it in that way, which is the wrong way.
For many Christians, this wasn't just a statement, it was an insult to their faith. And angry fans boycotted the band and even sent him death threats. However, as the years passed, the uproar died down and life moved on, at least for most people. But one man, 25-year-old Mark David Chapman, thought Lennon's comment was unforgivable, and he wanted to do something about it. Chapman started out as a fan of John Lennon. However, after the more popular than Jesus comment, Chapman found other reasons to resent him. To Chapman, John Lennon was a hypocrite. Lennon sang about living a simple life and rejecting materialism. But Lennon wasn't practicing what he preached. At the time, Lennon was worth around $200 million, equivalent to $620 million today. He lived in a lavish home, owned a custom Rolls Royce, and enjoyed a luxurious lifestyle. Chapman described his feelings, saying, "John Lennon told us to imagine no possessions, and there he was with millions of dollars and yachts and country estates, laughing at people like me who would believe the lies and built a big part of their lives around his music." Chapman decided Lennon needed to be punished, and he came up with a plan to do just that. On December 8th, 1980, Chapman put his plan into motion. He went to the New York apartment where Lennon was staying, but when he arrived, he was disappointed by what he saw. There was a crowd of fans outside the apartment waiting for pictures and autographs from the star. After a while, Lennon came out. He signed some autographs and took pictures with fans. Chapman blended in with the crowd and even posed for a picture with John Lennon. Lennon had no clue that the man standing beside him was plotting to end him. After signing autographs, Lennon and his wife left their apartment, heading to a recording session. From a distance, Chapman watched them go, but instead of returning home, Chapman waited nearby. Around 10:50 p.m. that night, Lennon and his wife returned. It was dark, the fans were gone, and the street outside their apartment was quiet. As Lennon and his wife emerged from their car, Chapman stepped out of the shadows and ended John Lennon. Neighbors rushed to the scene and drove Lennon to a hospital. Sadly, Lennon didn't survive.
Former Beatle John Lennon, who was 40, was shot and killed last night outside his luxury apartment in New York.
What makes this story even stranger is what Chapman did after the crime. Chapman remained at the scene and appeared to be reading a book when New York City police officers arrived. He didn't resist arrest. In 1981, Chapman was sentenced to 20 years to life in prison. Since then...
Wait, hold, time out. So he sat there and read a book after he shot him? So he didn't run from the scene when he wanted to be arrested? Like he was on a... Man, he crashed out. I don't know what's wrong with Chapman, bro. Chapman was throwed off. He got 20 years to life. That's insane, bro. Like, y'all fans would be ridiculous. That's I ain't never heard this story before. That's crazy.
Denied parole 13 times, with his most recent request
sent bruh to the crazy house.
This next case is a head scratcher involving angry fans, cover-ups, and stories that don't add up. Albert Abbasse. When we think of celebrities, we usually picture actors and musicians. But footballers are celebrities too, and I'm not talking about American football.
Soccer.
Just like other stars, these athletes sometimes have fans who take things way too far. Albert Abbasse was a soccer player from Cameroon, a country in Africa. In 2013, he got his big break, a chance to play for a top team in Algeria. Traveling to another country to play was a big deal, and Albert did not disappoint. In his first season, Albert was the league's top scorer with 20 goals in 36 matches.
Okay, he was nice.
His team finished second in the league. Albert was a hero. Fans loved him and his teammates relied on him. But all that changed on August 23rd, 2014. That day, Albert's team, JSK, played against their rivals, MC Alger. The match was a big deal for Algerian football. The rivalry between the teams was intense and fans were on edge. It was a close game, but in the end, Albert's team lost 2-1. As Albert's team walked off the pitch, anger erupted in the stands. Angry fans threw sticks, bottles, and other objects at the players. It was chaos, and the flying objects were dangerous. The players ran off the field, heading for the safety of their dressing room. At first, this didn't seem like a huge deal. The fans had a reputation for being rowdy, but hours later, devastating news broke. JSK announced that Albert was hit on the head by an object thrown from the crowd. He was rushed to the hospital, but didn't make it.
A Cameroonian footballer playing in Algeria has died after being struck by what appeared to be a piece of concrete.
Algeria's sports minister released a statement claiming that...
Hold on, my bad for y'all throwing concrete over a soccer game? Like, these fans are, like, it's not that deep, bro. Like, y'all gotta chill and relax, man. Hopefully they found a fan who did it. Cause this is insane, bro.
Be a piece of concrete.
It was a lot of people in the stadium
sports
too.
Minister released a statement claiming the object that hit Albert was a slate tile like the ones used for flooring or roofing. That made sense because construction work was going on near the stadium. It seemed like a tragic case of fan violence.
I can't believe that the poor guy died. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever that he would die in such a senseless manner, especially after scoring the only goal for his side in that match.
But while everyone accepted this explanation, Albert's family felt the story didn't add up, so they launched their own investigation. Doubts began when Albert's dad saw a video of Albert leaving the pitch to enter the dressing room after the match. In the video, Albert didn't seem hurt at all. Albert's family hired an independent pathologist to perform a second autopsy. What they discovered completely changed everything. The new report said that Albert's injuries couldn't have been caused by an object hitting his head. It stated it can't be a slate tile, as the Algerians stated in the report, because if someone threw a tile even at high speed, it couldn't cause such severe wounds like the ones I found on the body. The object that hit him came from close range. But the pathologist had his own theory. He said Albert's injuries could only be explained by a physical attack, especially because some of his wounds shown signs of struggle. When this report came out, it led to speculation that Albert was attacked by someone in the dressing room, leading to his demise. Albert's father believed this theory. He said it wasn't a rock, it wasn't a seizure, my son was murdered. Following the new autopsy, the Algerian Ministry of Justice promised a deeper investigation. But weeks turned into months and still no answers came. Meanwhile, the Algerian Football Federation and the government paid Abbasse's family $100,000 in compensation. Despite the money, Albert's father was determined to uncover the truth. He declared, "All I want there to be is justice. If investigations are done properly, they will find out who killed Albert." Unfortunately, what happened to Albert Abbasse is still a mystery. Was he ended by his angry fans as the official story claimed, or was it a cover-up for something darker? What happened to this next celebrity was so tragic that the government passed a law to prevent it from happening again. Rebecca Schaefer. When she was just 19, Rebecca Schaeffer landed a role on the TV sitcom My Sister Sam. But the show didn't just bring her fame, it brought a deadly stalker. His name was Robert John Bardo. It was no secret that Robert had issues. As a teenager, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. He also spent time in a psychiatric facility to treat emotional problems. Due to his mental issues, Bardo developed an extreme obsession with female celebrities he saw on TV. His fixation began with actress Samantha Smith. He sent her letters and even tried to meet with her. Sadly, Samantha passed away in a plane crash in 1985. So with Samantha gone, Robert needed a new focus. That's when...
First of all, why is Robert out the crazy house? Man, they should have kept his ass in there wherever he was at, bro.
Rebecca Schaeffer caught his eye. Rebecca was an actress, model, and star of the sitcom My Sister Sam. Bardo first saw her in a commercial for the show in 1986.
Hi, I'm Patty Russell, and this is my sister Sam. I used to live with her aunt and uncle in Oregon, but a few months ago I changed that. Before she moved in, I had my life totally together. But were you having any fun? I hate it when she's right.
Robert was obsessed right away. The first thing he did was send Rebecca a letter expressing his admiration. Rebecca didn't realize how troubled Robert was. To her, he was just another fan, so he replied to his letter. But one reply wasn't enough for Robert. He bombarded Rebecca with dozens of letters. However, this time, Rebecca didn't respond. As Bardo waited for her to write back, his frustration grew. Eventually, Bardo decided to stop waiting and visit Rebecca in person. He prepared like he was going on a date. He bought flowers and a teddy bear, then traveled to a Hollywood set where Rebecca was shooting a movie. But Bardo was in for a huge disappointment. The security on the movie set refused to let him through because Rebecca wasn't expecting any visitors. All his effort...
What the fuck he thought was gonna happen? You can't just pull up to a movie scene like that. Like, you're not gonna get through. You can't get through to the celebrities and talk to them and shit. Like, they shooting a movie and they don't fucking know you, you weirdo. This is why, bro. These people are crazy. Like, I ain't know fans could get this crazy. I knew fans could get crazy, but like, this is next level kind of shit. Like, this is delusion. This is all in his head, by the way. Like, he just imagining all this stuff. Like, oh my goodness, man.
For nothing. Now, Bardo was mad. He returned a month later armed with a knife, but security guards again prevented him from gaining access. At this point, it seemed like he would never meet Rebecca. Over time, his fixation on Rebecca started to fade. Then, one thing brought it all back. In 1989, Bardo saw Rebecca doing a love scene with another actor in a movie. Bardo was enraged by the scene, apparently out of jealousy. In his disturbed mind, Rebecca was no longer sweet and innocent, and she needed to be punished for becoming another Hollywood whore. Bardo paid a private detective $250 to find Rebecca's home address. Once Bardo knew where she lived, he got a weapon. On July 18th, 1989, Bardo showed up at Rebecca Schaeffer's home in Los Angeles. Inside, Rebecca was waiting for someone to deliver a script when she heard a knock at the door. Expecting the delivery person, she opened it only to find Bardo standing there. Bardo showed her the letter she had sent him and an autographed photo. He told her he was her biggest fan, but Rebecca was busy. She politely told him she had an interview to get ready for. She shook his hand, wished him well, and shut the door. In Bardo's disturbed mind, Rebecca just rejected him like he was bothering her. He went to a nearby restaurant, ordered a meal, and sat there replaying their encounter in his head. Anger and frustration consumed him. An hour later, he returned to Rebecca's apartment. This time, she recognized him as soon as she opened the door. Rebecca said, "You've come to my door again. Hurry up. I don't have much time." Then, Robert ended her. She was only 21. After the crime, Bardo fled the scene, but didn't have a solid escape plan. He was later seen wandering around aimlessly in traffic and arrested by police. Bardo was found guilty on first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Rebecca's passing was a national tragedy, but it brought attention to the dangers of stalking. Rebecca's demise led to the passing of America's first anti-stalking laws in 1990. For the first time, stalking was classified as a crime with punishments like jail time and fines. Our next story is something...
Ho, you mean to tell me stalking wasn't a crime at first? So you can just stalk somebody for hours, for days, for months, for weeks, and nothing would happen? That is actually insane. Like, I thought it always been a crime. Like, that is ridiculous, bro. Stalking somebody is crazy. Like, you have to be wired different to do some shit like that. Like, bro, I don't even know how this kind of shit crossed people's mind. Like, bro, put these people in a crazy house and don't never let him out. These people can't even be around normal folks. For you to even think about stalking somebody every day and have an obsession over a celebrity you don't even fucking know. That is padded walls material. Put that man behind padded walls, put him in a crazy house, and don't never let him out. But let's continue.
Most of you might remember, I was also a fan of hers back in the day. Christina Grimmie. Meet and greet is an event where fans can meet a celebrity, usually for a photo, autograph, or a quick chat. But after what happened to Christina Grimmie at her meet and greet, some celebrities now fear being in the same room with their fans. Christina was one of the first musicians to become famous on YouTube. She blew up in 2009 because of one song.
Hi, I'm gonna sing Party in the USA by
She looked familiar. I think
When it gets to the high notes, I don't really... It's kind of difficult for me to sing. My voice has been going through a lot of crappy problems. I hope you like it though.
The video went viral and suddenly millions were watching her online.
So I gotta get my model on. Not that I'm a model, because I'm so not a model.
Christina caught the attention of big names in the music industry. Before long, she got a management team and her career took off. Christina released EPs, went on tour with Selena Gomez, and even competed on season 6 of The Voice. By 2014, Christina Grimmie had over 2 million YouTube subscribers and a devoted fan base. She was on the brink of major success. Then she locked eyes with a man who would end her life, Kevin James Loibl. 27-year-old Kevin felt like he was a loner. He rarely left his room, spent hours on his computer, and had almost no friends. Most described him as socially awkward and detached. Then, sometime in 2015, Kevin discovered Christina Grimmie on YouTube, and he was mesmerized. For the next 6 months, he spent most of his waking hours watching Christina on YouTube and
For the next 6 months, he spent his waking hours watching Christina on YouTube. I'm ashamed to have the same name as you. Your name is Kevin. Matter of fact, that's my name. I was born first. I don't give a damn if you was older than me or not, or you older than me or not. I was born first. My name is Kevin. Your name is whatever your last name is. We don't have the same name. First of all, because I would never do no weird shit like this. You know what I'm saying? You're not even my kind, bro. I don't even know why you got my name in the first place. Like, these people are sick, man. This is
during her social media accounts. As Kevin watched her, he became convinced that Christina was his soulmate. He decided to track her down and try to get into a relationship with her. But first, he needed to make himself presentable. Determined to impress her, Kevin transformed his appearance. He lost 50 pounds, underwent LASIK surgery, and had his teeth whitened and got hair implants. In 2016, Christina announced that she would be performing in Orlando. Kevin felt it was the perfect opportunity to finally meet her, so he drove over 100 miles to the event. But this meeting was not going to end well. On June 10th, 2016, Christina performed at Plaza Live in Orlando. After her set, she hosted a meet and greet. Fans lined up to take pictures and get autographs. Christina, ever so kind and humble, made everyone feel special. At exactly 10:24 p.m., Kevin James Loibl reached the front of the line. As he stepped forward, Christina opened her arms for a hug. But instead of hugging her, Kevin ended her. Christina's brother Marcus tackled Kevin to the ground, but Kevin managed to break free. Then Kevin backed against the wall, ended himself.
Grimmie's brother Marcus immediately dove over a merchandise booth and tackled the gunman to the ground.
By the time the paramedics arrived, it was too late to save Christina. She was gone. This tragedy wasn't just heartbreaking, it was confusing. Why did Kevin obsess over Christina and then end her when they finally met? Kevin James had no criminal record or history of mental illness. Why did he suddenly turn violent? To this day, no one understands why he did it. To preserve her legacy, Christina's family created a foundation to support families affected by gun violence. It's called the Christina Grimmie Foundation. This next story is about a rumor that made a celebrity a target for execution. Dimebag Darrell. Fans are sad when their favorite band breaks up, but eventually they get over it. However, when heavy metal band Pantera split, fans were so mad that someone ended up losing their life. Pantera wasn't just any band. They sold 20 million records with 4 Grammy nominations, making them one of the most successful bands in heavy metal history.
Cowboys from Hell made Pantera a household name, and their subsequent albums, Vulgar Display of Power and Far Beyond Driven, were released with much success.
Despite their success, the band members didn't really get along. Creative differences and personal clashes made things tense. By 1996, it was so bad that they couldn't even record an album together in the same room. They had to work separately. The tension lasted for another 7 years. Finally, in 2003, Pantera split. For Pantera's loyal fans, it was heartbreaking. But one fan took his disappointment to a dangerous extreme. That fan was Nathan Gale. Nathan was not a happy guy. For most of his life, he struggled to hold down a steady job. In 2002, he joined the Marines hoping to turn things around. But even that didn't work. He was discharged from the service after being diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. Nathan refused treatment and returned home where his mental health worsened. He started making strange claims, like saying God wanted him to eliminate Marilyn Manson. He would talk to himself, laugh at nothing, and even play with an imaginary dog. One of the few normal aspects of Nathan's troubled life was his deep love for Pantera. Their music was his escape. Nathan would often hang out at a tattoo shop near his apartment ranting about heavy metal music. But as Nathan's mental state worsened, his love for Pantera became distorted. He started to think Pantera's songs were actually his. He even showed people notebooks as evidence claiming Pantera copied their songs from him. Nathan's delusions were at their peak when Pantera announced their split in 2003. Nathan was crushed. He still loved the band and couldn't imagine life without new music from them. Filled with anger, Nathan tried to figure out why Pantera split. Who was to blame for destroying his favorite band? Soon he got his answer. Nathan watched a 2004 interview where Pantera's vocalist Phil Anselmo accused another member, Dimebag Darrell, of causing problems in the band. Anselmo said Dimebag would attack him verbally and get into heated arguments with him. Although Anselmo didn't directly say Dimebag was responsible for the breakup, the rumor stuck, and some fans believed Dimebag was to blame for the split. Now, Nathan had someone to blame. In his disturbed mind, Dimebag Darrell was the enemy. In December 2004, Nathan heard that Dimebag Darrell would be performing at a nightclub in Ohio. Nathan attended the event. Then he made his way through the crowd, trying to get close to the stage. When Nathan was close enough, he jumped on the stage and yelled at Darrell, "This is for breaking up Pantera." Before Dimebag could respond, Nathan ended Darrell's life. People screamed and scrambled to escape, but Nathan didn't make it out. In the midst of the panic, a police officer at the scene shot him before he could hurt anyone else. The next day, the headlines read, "Band split, set off Slayer." It was one of the saddest days in rock music. The next story also involves a singer, but the one who ended her life was the last person anyone expected: Selena Quintanilla Perez. Any fan would love the chance to work with their favorite musician, but when Latin singer Selena got into business with her biggest fan, it set off a chain of events that cost Selena her life.
I remember
Latin
hearing
music
about
is
this story.
massive today, but it was Selena Quintanilla that helped make it happen. Selena made music that was a blend of traditional Mexican and American music styles. After releasing her first album in 1989, she churned out hit after hit. By 1994, she won a Grammy for Best Mexican American Album. That same year, her latest album became one of the best-selling Latin albums in the United States. Selena performed at sold-out concerts across the US and Mexico. It was at one of these shows that Selena met 31-year-old Yolanda Saldivar. Yolanda swore she was Selena's biggest fan, but she didn't want to be an ordinary fan anymore. She wanted to start a Selena fan club. It sounded like a good idea, so Selena agreed. Unfortunately, that decision to start a fan club would lead directly to Selena's demise. At first, Yolanda seemed like the perfect fan club president. She even quit her career as a nurse to run the club full-time. And although she was earning less than she made as a nurse, Yolanda was dedicated. Her efforts paid off. In just a few years, the fan club grew to over 8,000 members, becoming one of the largest in the San Antonio area. The success brought Yolanda and Selena closer. They became friends. Selena trusted Yolanda so much that she hired her to manage a chain of clothing boutiques Selena owned. It was an an important job. Yolanda was authorized to write and cash checks and had access to bank accounts associated with the fan club and boutiques. But not everyone trusted Yolanda. Before long, people close to Selena started raising concerns about Yolanda's attitude. Employees at Selena's boutiques were the first to complain. They said Yolanda was always nice when Selena was around, but treated everyone terribly when the singer was away. Yolanda was also power hungry, firing anyone she didn't like. Soon, the employees at the boutiques dropped from 38 to just 14, but it got worse. By January 1995, fans began complaining that they hadn't received the fan club merch they paid for. At this point, Selena was concerned. She didn't want to look like she was scamming her fans. So Selena's team launched an investigation, and they finally understood how bad things were. They realized Yolanda embezzled more than $60,000 using forged checks from both the fan club and boutiques. This was a serious crime. When Selena and her team demanded answers from Yolanda, she had a bizarre reaction. Yolanda simply stared at them without denying the accusations or answering questions. They considered reporting her to the police. But before they could cut ties completely, they needed one last thing from Yolanda. Yolanda still had bank records, statements, and financial records necessary for tax preparation. Yolanda agreed to return the documents on one condition. Selena needed to meet her in person to get it. Selena agreed, and Yolanda asked Selena to meet her in a motel room. When Selena arrived at the motel, the two women got into a heated argument. Guests in nearby rooms heard their voices echo through the walls. The argument escalated until Yolanda pulled out something dangerous. Selena tried to escape by running to the motel lobby, but before she could make it, Yolanda ended Selena. The staff tried to help Selena by calling the ambulance.
What is your location? David Motel. It's 901 Navigation Boulevard. What's wrong, man? We have a woman ran in the lobby, said she's been shot.
However, by the time paramedics got her to a hospital, it was too late. Selena Quintanilla was only 23. After the crime, Yolanda tried to escape in her truck, but police blocked the road. What followed was a 9-hour standoff as Yolanda sat in her vehicle, refusing to come out.
Assistant Police Chief Ken Bung tells us that they have provided the suspect with a telephone and have been in constant contact with her, trying to get her to give herself up. However, as you can see, their efforts are still fruitless.
Finally, Yolanda surrendered and was arrested. In 1995, Yolanda was sentenced to life in prison with no eligibility for parole for 30 years. In 2025, Yolanda applied for parole, claiming she was being targeted by other inmates who want justice for Selena. She's currently in the parole review process. Selena could have had a much longer career.
Man, don't give her no damn parole. Nah, she need to be in there forever. Don't let her out. Don't parole means you get let out on parole and you gotta go see your parole officer. Yeah, no, hell no. She can't be on the streets. No, absolutely not.
Yolanda took that future away. So for Selena's fans, justice means Yolanda stays behind bars forever. Everyone makes mistakes, including celebrities. But what happens when an angry fan decides a celebrity's mistake can't be forgiven? Andres Escobar. Before the 1994 FIFA World Cup even started, Colombians were certain their team would win the tournament. The team was on fire, winning 25 of their last 26 games. Confidence was through the roof. But this positivity had a dark side. The expectations were so high that if the team didn't deliver, Colombian fans would be heartbroken or angry. All that pressure fell on the players' shoulders, and in soccer, pressure leads to mistakes. Colombia entered the tournament as the clear favorites, but they got off to a horrible start. They lost their first match 3-1. Colombians were outraged. Fans demanded the team step up for the next game, but instead of making a comeback, things went from bad to worse. And it was all because of one of Colombia's star players, Andres Escobar. Andres Escobar was one of the best players in the Colombian team. Fans called him the gentleman because of how calm he was. However, during Colombia's second match against the US, Andres made the worst mistake of his career. Andres tried to block a pass from the Americans, but instead of stopping the ball, he accidentally deflected it into his own net. That own goal gave the US the lead, and Colombia went on to lose the game. Just like that, their World Cup run was over. Colombian soccer fans were furious, and many directed their anger at Andres Escobar. As the Colombian team flew home, Andres knew millions of angry fans were waiting to confront him. When Andres returned to Colombia, he tried to calm the nation by writing a letter to the media. Part of his letter mother read, "We must be gallant in victory, but much more so in defeat. But please let the respect remain. See you soon, because life doesn't end here." Unfortunately, his words didn't do much to calm tempers. A few days after returning from the World Cup, Andres decided to go out to a nightclub with some friends. Not everyone thought it was a good idea. His coach warned him to lay low, saying the streets are dangerous. Andres, stay home. But Andres didn't take the warning.
Bro, they was telling him to stay home like it's gang wars. Like he just lost a soccer game. Like I wouldn't expect nothing to be that deep. Like a soccer game is like it's that deep. To like soccer fans really be like crashing out like this. Like they take this shit to heart like this. Now I understand like of course like they'll get upset if their team lose or something. Like they will really start sending threats to the players if they mess up or something like that. Like the coach telling him to stay inside, like the streets are dangerous. Like he just committed a damn crime or something. Like he in the gang or something. Like, bro, it's not that. It's just a soccer game. Like I wouldn't expect nothing to pop off like that just because I lost a soccer game or the team lost a soccer game like that. It makes no sense to me.
At the nightclub, two substance traffickers named David and Santiago Gajon spotted Andres as he walked in. They started mocking him, taunting him for scoring an own goal. Soon, the teasing turned into insults and Andres decided to leave the club. But the Gajon brothers weren't done with him.
Understanding the gravity of the situation, Escobar decides to leave and goes to his car. Yet, he doesn't realize that the four people who initiated the nuisance in the bar follow him.
When Andres got into his car, the men were right there. Before driving off, Andres tried to explain one last time that the own goal was just a mistake. But then, one of the men pulled out a weapon and fired. Then the men fled. Andres Escobar passed away at 27. Andres' murder was an embarrassment for Colombia. How could a soccer player lose his life over a game? If fans hurt players every time their team lost, sports wouldn't survive. Eventually, the Gajon brothers were arrested and charged. But instead of taking the blame, they pinned it on their bodyguard. They allegedly paid their bodyguard to take the fall and he confessed to the crime. The bodyguard was sentenced to 43 years in prison. However, he was released for good behavior after just serving 11 years. To this day, some people believe the case was covered up and that the real culprits got away. Up next is the story of a man who conquered
11 years
the world only to be cut down in his prime.
Man, that's some bullshit.
Gianni Versace. If Gianni Versace knew that someone was coming to end his life, he could have hired dozens of bodyguards to protect him. After all, he was worth $807 million. But the way he was murdered was so shocking, so unexpected, that there was almost nothing he could have done to stop it. Gianni Versace started his fashion label in 1978. His unique designs were an instant hit.
I like his clothes because I think he's got a unique perspective, and there's always a sense of wit to his clothes. Some little thing that you think, oh, wow, I never thought of that.
But it wasn't just his clothes that people loved. Gianni Versace himself became a celebrity, but that fame came with fans. And one of Versace's fans, named Andrew Cunanan, was about to become a criminal. Andrew Cunanan loved attention from a young age. He grew up in a wealthy family and never lacked anything.
He got everything that he needed. My dad gave him a sports car, and actually he had the master bedroom, he had his own bath and everything.
But his perfect life didn't last. In 1988, the police discovered that Andrew's rich dad was involved in financial crimes. To avoid getting arrested, his dad fled the country, leaving Andrew behind. Almost overnight, Andrew, who was used to a life of luxury, was penniless, but he was ready to do anything to maintain his lifestyle. Anything except getting a real job. Andrew befriended wealthy older men who spoiled him with money and gifts. For a while, this allowed him to keep up appearances, but it wasn't just the money he wanted. Andrew craved status.
Being accepted in high society and by wealthy people was what he expected. If he didn't get them, he was lost.
Andrew was always lying about being friends with celebrities. The one name he dropped the most was Versace. He never missed a chance to brag about his close friendship with Versace, but Andrew's life continued to fall apart. Andrew started using substances and developed a violent temper. His erratic behavior scared off the wealthy men who were supporting him. One by one, they cut him off. Andrew felt abandoned and desperate, and when he was 27, that desperation turned deadly. On April 27th, 1997, Andrew Cunanan snapped. Over the next 12 days, he went on a crime spree, taking the lives of 4 men across 3 states. The police identified Andrew as the culprit and launched a manhunt to catch him. But for 2 months, Andrew managed to stay hidden. However, on July 15th, he came out of hiding to go after his next target, Gianni Versace. That morning, Versace went to a news cafe to pick up some magazines. As he walked back to his Miami mansion, Andrew was waiting for him and Andrew fired. The demise of Gianni Versace made headlines worldwide.
The designer to stars like Princess Diana and Madonna gunned down in broad daylight right in front of his Florida mansion. Within hours, a suspect is named. It's Andrew Cunanan, who's at the top of the FBI's 10 most wanted list.
Police doubled their efforts to find Andrew before he could hurt anyone else. 8 days later, their search ended. Andrew was found lifeless on a houseboat in Miami Beach by his own hand.
The reign of terror brought upon us by Andrew Cunanan is over.
But many people still have questions about this case. Andrew was a huge fan of Versace, so why did he target the designer? Did Andrew and Versace know each other? The Versace family denied that Gianni ever met Andrew. Even the cops couldn't explain it. After extensive investigations, police said that they do not know why Versace was killed. Fame can bring success, admiration, and opportunities, but it can also attract dangerous people. No matter how big a celebrity is, they're never truly untouchable. And what's so unfortunate is that sometimes their biggest threat was the people who claimed to love them the most. So maybe we're lucky we're not that famous. Visual venture.
Man, these fans crazy than a motherfucker, boy. I'm not bullshitting. Man, fame is scary, man, because man, you never know who watching you, and all of these people know you, and you have no idea who these people are. So that's the scary part about fame, man. When you walk out that door, man, everybody know you, but you don't know everybody. You just in the blind, because they know everything about you. They know more about you than you know about yourself, to be honest. And you have no idea who these people are. But we about to get out of here. If y'all enjoyed that reaction video, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. RIP to all the victims in this video. Man, this is a sad situation, man. These fans is outrageous. But we about to get out of here, man.